Well, it's a just a sensational crisp.
Are you
came up with that word? Mohegan Sun at Pocono Downs, the Breeders' Crown 2010. It's been a spectacular debut here at this beautiful Pocono facility outside of Wilkes-Barre, and we've seen some sensational racing. The day started off, it opened our eyes right away. First crown race of the day, huge upset with Tetrick in the ride, and a big payoff there.
Yep. And it's been the entire night has been just wonderful. The other thing was we were lulled into a false sense of security with the weather. Last night we were here and it was a lot warmer.
I was talking about we had a production meeting today. I said, it's October. We're up in the mountains, and
where it could snow.
Yeah, well,
in October.
All right, enough about us. So. Hot stuff. Also, the eighth race in the Breeders' Crown of 12 today for the superstars of tomorrow today. These are the 2-year-old Colts at 1 mile pace with $600,000 on the line, Steve.
Yep, and number one is Westward Hanover with Brett Miller from Canada, 11-1. Fashion Delight Dave Miller at 3-2. Number 3 is Foreclosure N, 9-2 with Tim Tetrick. Shady Shark Hanover with Jim Morrill Jr. 3-1. Hug a Dragon, which is something I like to do in my spare time, with Dave Pallone is 22-1. Line Officer George Brennan, who of course was the driver of Shark Gesture, who made that untimely break in the Open tonight. And Big Jim is Phil Hudon at 7-2. Great Vintage with John Campbell 20-1, and Look for Adventure at 39-1. With Dan Dubé, who just won with Rock and Roll Heaven.
So these are the 2-year-old Colts, the superstars of tomorrow. Tonight, $600,000 on the line. And this was earlier. And here's Sam McKee with the call.
And they're off and pacing. Line Officer fires fast from mid-pack for the lead. The whip up on Fashion Delight, and Big Jim involved early for Phil Hudon. He's up into second and pressing for the lead on the outside. Foreclosure slides in neatly fourth. Great Vintage parked on the outside early fifth. Westward Hanover sixth on the inside. Fashion Delight has already pulled the 3-hole under urging, and Big Jim a little bit tough to steer down to the pylons, but he now clears the lead. Immediate pressure coming from Fashion Delight, who zips up on the outside for Dave Miller. 26-4 for the opening quarter. Line Officer third as Fashion Delight goes to the front. Foreclosure with a decision to make is racing in fourth. Great Vintage trying to flush him to the outside, looking for some cover to follow. Westward Hanover is jammed in toward the inside. Shady Shark Hanover is seventh in the developing cover flow. Eighth is Hug a Dragon, and at the back of the pack is Looking for Adventure, who rounds out the field as they circle the turn. Foreclosure did flush out there, first over from the fourth spot. He's up into third, but he's 2 lengths for the lead of Fashion Delight. Off a half and 55-3, so it's Fashion Delight as they head out of the backstretch under urging from Dave Miller. Pressure coming from Foreclosure, who quickens up to the leader's wheel there, and Big Jim is right there in the box racing in third. Great Vintage Steppy on the outside. Campbell trying to hold him together. Line Officer is fourth at the rail. Shady Shark Hanover moves up between horses in a tight spot there. Westward Hanover is jammed in. He's seventh on the inside. 1:23 the 3/4 time, and Fashion Delight leads the way as they circle the far turn. Foreclosure trying to hang in there first over. Big Jim waiting for the passing lane, and Shady Shark Hanover is 3 wide for Morrill, and he's closing well on the outside. They're at the top of the stretch. Fashion Delight full out. Big Jim dives to the inside. Shady Shark Hanover on the outside. It's Big Jim at the rail under left-handed pressure, and Big Jim is going to win the Breeders' Crown. Shady Shark Hanover second, Fashion Delight third. Tight for fourth between Westward Hanover and Foreclosure. 1:50-4, the time for the mile. So it's Big Jim returning to the winner's circle. Big Jim, bred by Hanover Shoe Farms right here in Pennsylvania. A son of Western Ideal out of Bold Pink by Big Towner. Now 5 for 9 in his career. He's owned by James Carr from Hamilton, Ontario. James Friday Dean is the trainer of Big Jim. And a big win for Phil Hudon, his biggest career victory, coming in the $600,000 Breeders' Crown for the freshman Colt and Gelding Pacers. 1:50-4, the time for the mile. To make the trophy presentation, we welcome Tom Greco. And a lot of you might remember Tom. He was one of the local owners of the Great Dragon's Lair, who upset Annihilator in the very first year of the Breeders' Crown. That was at the Meadows back in 1984. We saw the roll-in of that on our pregame show, and a race that Roger Houston says was one of his most exciting that he's ever called and ever seen. in the history of harness racing. Also trackside from the Hambletonian Society, directors Dr. Glenn Brown and Charlie Keller III making the trophy presentation. So it's Big Jim, James Friday Dean, and Phil Hudon, 150-4 to win the Breeders' Crown. Results official.
Breeders' Crown is in, and Big Jim has done it. Here we are with Jim Carr and Phil Hudon. Big Jim, where did you get the name, by the way?
After me, he's big and he loves to eat just like me.
How did you acquire Big Jim?
I went to Harrisburg looking for an Ontario sired horse, couldn't buy one. I went to Hanover Farms, picked out 2 horses. This was the first one. Put a maximum of $35,000 on him, and that's what I got him for.
Did you expect anything like this?
No. In fact, when we turned him out at the farm, he tore the stall apart. We took him to Florida and turned him out and couldn't catch him for 3 days.
No one can catch him tonight either.
No, he's a pretty nice horse. He's got great manners. Like, you know, you can do anything with him.
You know, a lot of the top drivers, I don't see Phil Hudon's name. I love the loyalty you show to this man right here.
He's a great guy.
Phil Hudon, what does this feel like winning your first Breeders' Crown?
It's unbelievable. I don't think there's anything that can compare to it except for having birth of your children. That's about it.
Tell us what happened in the first turn there. He looked like he had a little problem steering right over here.
Well, he takes a while to get in gear. He's a big horse. He don't like being doubled up too much, so I was kind of iffy about the tool, but it all worked out good.
Here comes Dave Miller with a big move from Fashion Delight. Where were you there, and what kind of trip did you have from there?
Oh, I had a perfect trip. I figured he would definitely take you where you want to go, and it just all worked out. I thought I'd have trouble sitting in the hole, but he's just a good horse, good-mannered, and drives perfect.
Nice combination you guys make. Congratulations, gentlemen. Big Jim has done it. Phil Hudon, the connections, the upset winner here in the Breeders' Crown.
There you go, buddy.
Bit of an upset there. Big Jim at $9.20, $4 and $3 ahead of Shady Shark Hangover.
That's what we have.
$3.80 and $2.40. Speak for yourself. And Fashion Delight at $2.60. And the $2 exacta, 7.4 paid $38.80, and the 7.42 trifecta, $106.
Big Jim last week at 3-5. Finished third, comes back at 7-2 tonight, gets the money. I was going to go in my pocket and bet the horse, but of course I didn't. That's why he won. It was okay to win.
Great day and night here at Mohegan Sun and Pocono Downs.